Hi there, my name is Vera and I am hosting the annual I'm Sweet Enough the September Sugar-Free Challenge. This year, I am interested in asking questions of some of our notable authors in the anti-sugar, anti-food addiction crusade. So I'd like to welcome Cindy Myers-Morrison and David Avram Wolfe, authors of The Fix for Cravings.
Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to first show you the book. It is a beautiful cover, The Fix for Cravings, with the door to go through. And I'm Cynthia Myers-Morrison, and I am delighted to be with you, Vera and David. Really delighted. I have the opportunity to be here as the representative for the book, a co-author, and I'm an advocate for abstinence as a real change agent in this food addiction process. That abstinence works, it works really, really well, and moderation does not work, and it never will for a food addict.
Pleasure to be here. It's been a really fun journey to put this book together with Cynthia. And we're really glad it's out and available for all of you, so that you can potentially go through the process outlined in the book and have a transformational experience in recovery. So I am a registered dietitian. I'm a sugar addiction coach. I work with people one-on-one. I run groups, and I am soon to be running a transformational course. It's like being built as we speak. So I got here because my mom's a food addict, and apples don't fall far from trees, and here I am. So it's good to be here. Thanks for having me. I own a company called Trigger-Free Nutrition, where we help treat sugar and food addiction as a substance abuse disorder, working with people, again, one-on-one and in groups.
Yeah.
I'm particularly known for helping people develop food plans, especially those interested in more of a low carb avenue, in whatever form that is. People call it different things: keto, low carb, paleo. I do all that stuff, and I'm definitely an abstinence guy, just like Cynthia.
And you also, I want to highlight this, that you also work with people who have had post-bariatric surgery, and that's
I do that, absolutely, yes.
I'm a board member and have been for several years for the Food Addiction Institute, and that's a wonderful resource for food addicts, foodaddictioninstitute.org.
Yeah.
We have webinars. Dave and I are both webinar co-chairs, and there are a number of YouTubes that are available to watch. Some outstanding people in the field who are sharing their observations about food addiction and how to recover. The impetus for the book was actually that there were several people in my life who were wanting to be vegan, vegetarian, but no grain, no sugar, no alcohol. And I was concerned about them not having enough nutrients in their food plans, the way that they were doing it. Yeah. So I encouraged David to create some plans that would allow them to have the nutrient values that they needed while still doing the spiritual belief systems that they wanted to do with their food. So that was the impetus. It is also a wonderful resource for those people who may or may not want to be in 12-step programs. Some people like 12 steps and will readily identify and go to one of the several that support abstinence, and others may not want to be in one. So this is an alternative, a way to be part of the A team, to look at your fix for cravings, and not just with food, but with all of the cravings in your life. What are the things that you would like to change? And we have a step-by-step process for doing that, with awareness and abstinence and actions, accountability.
Isn't it like a week 1 and a week 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And really to do that with a group of people so that they're connecting with you, supporting you in your change process while you're supporting them in theirs.
There are like 2 specific food plans in the book. There's one I would call more of a high volume food plan, and one more that's oriented towards lower carbohydrates and less volume. So some people do well with one way and some people do well with the other. I think it's really important that people understand why, because every direction I give to a client one-on-one, there's a reason for. And the book explains what those reasons are so that you're not just willy-nilly following what Dave said. You'll understand either the science or the mechanics or the triggers or the cravings behind the reason why I have suggested certain things.
And I just want to highlight that in both of those, so for people who don't know, David was the sort of the diet designer for the food addiction food plan that was part of Renaissance food addiction program. So both of the plans, the lower volume and higher volume, are both squeaky clean in terms of food addiction plans. So they'll both work for a food addict. It's just a question of your preference.
And there's stories from all sorts of different people around the world, people who have been successful in abstaining from those substances, sometimes called food, that are not serving them. And so there are people there that have gone through bariatric surgeries, sometimes successfully, sometimes without success. And there are stories of people who have tried other food plans and have come to abstinence as a means for long-term continuing recovery from food addiction. So there's a story in there of a woman who's now in her 90s who found that she couldn't drink when she was younger and stopped doing that. And then she found that she couldn't eat things that had wax on the outside of them. And other substances that bothered her own system. And the kind of sleuthing that she did allowed her to live to be in her 90s now. And she's an amazingly healthy woman because of her personal sleuthing to look at what worked for her. And she is doing what we're inviting people to do for themselves here with us. We're all part of the A team. So join us in. Come on, everybody in.
This podcast. That's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I think the book offers a pretty clear step-by-step process that you can do, with others, which is, really important. And I think it provides just enough framework and assignments, and it's going to tell you what you need to do to have that transformation.
I feel like your book is a real primer, a practical primer on, now that I like my book is more of an introduction to the idea and some of the theory, but yours sounds like let's get the nitty gritty, what next,
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely a book of action.
Yeah.
My section of the book, which is more around the addiction aspect and the meal and the food and all that, it explains a couple kind of paradigms I've created that I think people can really identify with, in practical terms in their life, so that they can say, like, well, is this a problem food or not? Like, if you read the book and you apply the tools, you're going to know like what the problem foods are. It's going to be crystal clear for you so that you can work towards eventually removing them or cutting them out cold turkey. I think we're less about the kind of like the proof, and more about the action.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of books like that tell us about all the problems with sugar and grain and the science-y kind of info. And that's not what our goal is. I mean, our goal is to give you enough facts so you can take action and make progress. But I think our goal is what you said. It's a primer. It's like a technical manual on like what to do. Okay, I did that. What should I do next?
Each one is unique. It's the unique experience of a person.
Right.
And they're sharing their life story, their individual personal one. But each of them gives you strategies that worked and didn't work in their own lives. So you're welcome to try those out to see what it is that might work in your own, using the information that they chose. One of the stories, a really long one that I'm so pleased we had permission to put in, has to do with thinking, feeling, and the spiritual aspects and the emotional aspects, and a process for looking at those and determining what is it that I actually do before, during, and as the binge is manifesting. And it's a wonderful practice that's available there in the book. It's one of the last stories in the book. So all of that is amazing. I just want to add one example from just recently. I had a cataract removed, and I now have two eyes that are different because I haven't had the second one removed yet. But this is an example that's very close to recovery. When you take away that which doesn't serve anymore, the lens that didn't serve, um, and you put in a new lens, the clarity of mind that comes is so profound. The way to see the world is so different. It doesn't seem possible that it's exactly the same world you were in just a few minutes or hours before. That you take out the substances that do not serve and put in the food that nourishes. It's a different world. It's part of the A-team idea that we all have awarenesses that come to us, and the abstinence that changes the colors in the world, literally, as well as figuratively. And the actions that we take are actions that can clear away wreckage from, our current lives, because we're seeing things so much more clearly. We're not involved in food fog. We have accountability to the other people in the group. So,
for the people who don't want to do 12-step, can they find something in the book that will help them?
yes. It's a process that I've used myself for several collaborative groups where I got together with another person. Each of us chose another person, and sometimes that person chose another person. So there were probably about 6 of us, and we made these kinds of commitments week by week by week to each other, and then reported out the next week how the commitments had gone, whether they were successful or unsuccessful. It is that holding to the commitment, being accountable, and reporting out what worked and didn't work, and then changing the commitment to something else that would work better.
There are like 12-step people.
Yeah.
And there are people that want absolutely nothing to do with the 12 steps.
Yeah.
And I think that we really had them in mind to come up with another process that you could go through to get you to that end transformation, right? Because that's what we want. I mean, we know that in the 12 step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we want to carry the message and help others and do that. And that's the end result of the 12 steps, right? And that it's similar in what we're doing, except that the paradigm is completely different. We have the fellowship piece, you working with others, right? That's paramount. And some people apply spiritual tools, other people don't. That's totally up to you. If it worked for you, cool. And if they don't, that's fine too. But just a practical application of connecting mano a mano with other people they may not even be outright dealing with the exact same like problem or issue that you're dealing with. But the point is that when you do it with others, this process, it can be very transformative.
And David and I both agree that you can create a blissful, contented, and purposeful life by doing this, by changing what you put into yourself. Then everything else is up for grabs. You can change the rest piece by piece. And it's never too late to do that, no matter how old you are. Just keep on doing it, like the 90-year-old. She's my inspiration.
That's the message of hope, eh?
This is for young people too. A family can do this. A family can make these commitments at a family table once a week and do one commitment that has to do with the food and another commitment that has to do with some other process that each person wants to make a change in. And so families can do this, individuals can do this, and groups of people that are collaborative can do this as well. So just join us, come join the A-team and really let abstinence from the substances that no longer serve you, the behaviors that no longer serve you, allow that to just open up your lives.
Thank you. David, last words?
Hey, I always close with you got to howl to find your pack, so I think that's a huge part of this. I think the people that work with others are going to have the most profound transformation. We see that the power is the group power.
Yeah.
We see that in recovery all the time, even in other areas, not just recovery, but I think just like hope is possible. It's just a matter of just doing the next thing that's in front of you. And as far as the book is concerned, that'll tell you exactly what to do. So it's outlined. It's up to you to do it. But if you want the results, they're there. They're there for the taking. And just anyone can recover from this disease, this illness. It's really just a matter of willingness.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me in this Ask the Authors and invitation to the A-Team for the Sugar-Free September Challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. Thank you very much.
Bye.